glad you could come. Go sit down.
Why are you here anyway?
Because let's see what we have to read today. Oh my goodness gracious. I found some acts. First of all, we are reading the Molasses Act 1733. In American colonial history, the Molasses Act was a British law that imposed a tax on molasses, sugar, and rum imported from non-British foreign colonies into the North American colonies. The act specified aimed at preserving the practical monopoly of the American sugar market to British West Indies sugarcane growers, who otherwise could not compete successfully with French and other foreign sugar producers on more fertile neighboring West Indian islands. The American colonists protested the act, claiming that the British colonies alone could not produce enough molasses to meet the colony's needs. The American colonists feared that the act's effect would be to increase the price of the rum manufactured in New England, thus distributing later exporting capacity. The Molasses Act was among the least effective of the British Navigation Acts, since it was largely circumvented through smuggling. What did you think about that act?
Can't we just read another book?
No, we are reading this book.
I want to play Pokemon.
I don't care what you want. Now we are reading about the Quebec Act of 1774. This was an act of the Parliament of Great Britain. The principal components of the act were: it guaranteed free practice of Catholic faith, it restored the use of French civil law for private matters while maintaining the use of English common law for public administration, including criminal prosecution, and it also restored the Catholic Church right to impose tithes. The Quebec Act was passed by the British Parliament to institute a permanent administration in Canada at the time of the Proclamation of 1763. It gave French Canadians religious freedom. The 13 colonies thought this was an intolerable act because this would bring more religions into the United States. What did you think of that? Oh, children. The Parliament Act to stop industrial development, with an increased output of such items as beaver huts, wooden cloth, and iron products, primarily second locally but with some exported. The colonists were taking advantage of the abundant raw materials to move forward in local enterprises. They annoyed manufacturers and merchants of London and Bristol, who relied on having their own finished goods eventually sold in the colonies. Seeking to block further growth on such industries, Parliament enacted such measures of the Woolen Act 1699. Come on, my little sugar pies, let's go watch a movie of the acts. Come on.
Another one? Oh, gosh.
Get it moving.
Hey guys, what's on the street? Have you seen the new movie, The Axe?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Whatever. I was going to tell you everything about the Stamp Act.
Cool.
And I read it all on a piece of paper.
Whoa.
The first thing is that the closing hour is that on March 22 to 1765, the British Parliament created the Stamp Act, which would tax the British colonies and Americas. They did this so they could raise money to put an army on the western border of the continent.
That's awesome.
And I learned that I already knew one thing, and I learned this in kindergarten.
Awesome.
That the tax required that all paper, newspapers, magazines, legal documents, license, and other publications, even playing cards.
Really?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Had to be printed on an official stamped paper. That was made in England, and the paper had to be purchased with British money. There would be a stamp commissioner in each town where they could go buy the paper.
What was your favorite quote from this movie?
Well, my favorite quote was "No taxation without representation." That's what the Americans said when the British Parliament made the tax without giving it them, and he's saying it.
Cool.
The funniest part of the movie was when the colonists threatened to tar and feather the stamp commissioners, which means when they put hot tar on them and then put feathers on them.
Sweet.
And so all the commissioners were so scared that they all quit,
Goodness gracious.
even though they never ever tarred and feather anyone.
Yeah.
And so when it was time to collect the stamp act money, they all quit. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then on March 1766, they stopped the stamp act because they didn't get any money from it. So
Yeah, probably the same thing as ours then.
here, you can keep this piece of paper. Bye.
Thanks.
Hello, everybody, kindergartner who ran away from his grandma. Can you ask me these questions about the movie?
Sure.
And I'll tell you the answers.
What did the movie say about the East India Company, aka EIC?
Well, the EIC was owned by the British, and they sold tea to the colonies. But their tea was super expensive because they had to go to England first, then come there. So people started smuggling tea in. And so, since no one was buying their tea since it was so expensive, they were going bankrupt.
Okay. In the movie, did the EIC go bankrupt?
No, the British made a rule. They made the Tea Act in 1773, which meant that they could only buy tea from the EIC. Well, not really. It was the cheapest tea out there, but no tea would be smuggled in. Why it was cheaper was because they didn't have to stop at England. They could go straight to the colonies. But even though it was much cheaper, much cheaper.
This must have made the colonists very happy to have inexpensive tea, correct?
Heck no! They were not happy at all. They felt like the British were forcing them to. So John Hancock got mad and he made a boycott against this. And that happened a bit later.
Okay. Thanks for answering. And thanks for telling me all about the movie.
Go back to your grandma.
Okay.
I'm also going to call her. Hey, British! Ask me those questions now.
Okay, so how did the colonists deal with the Tea Act?
John Hancock, the leader of the Sons of Liberty, organized a boycott. The boycott worked so well that they didn't even unload the tea from the ships that the EIC owned.
Okay, what happened on December 16, 1773?
Well, Boston governor, who was so happened to be English, forced the colonies to unload, buy the tea from the ships. And so the Sons of Liberty got really mad at this. So they came, 30 to 130, and a lot of them, some dressed as Mohawk Indians, dumped a lot of tea. It was so much money that it was worth $888,000 British pounds today, which is over $1 million.
Cool.
Give me that, random stranger. Bye. Hey, random stranger, what do you think of the movie The Axe?
It was okay.
The storyline was good. The storyline was bad, but the actors did great.
I loved it, man. It was cool.
I love the way the actors were acting, and the storyline was amazing.
I just asked you this. You said the exact opposite.
No.
I don't want to answer that.
Yes, and let me just say, God blessed America.
Why?
Because God gave America an awesome history. And welcome back to the historical game show, where we have our two finalists, Miss Prin and Royce Wall. Today we're going to have 5 bonus questions and 10 regular questions. And here we go. Okay, round 1 question. When the tax on tea was lightened, was it more or less expensive than the tea in England?
Less.
You.
Less.
Yes, you have got it right. Next question. Was the Tea Act in the Township Acts? And, Roy Squall.
It's dope.
Yes.
Yes, you are right, Miss Bryn. Did the colonists sign a pact stating they would not buy any item taxed by the Township Acts?
No.
Wrong. Yes. Okay. Next question. Why was the Declaratory Act written? Yes.
No.
So they can make a declaration?
Both wrong. No one gets the point. To show the colonies they could tax and rule them.
Bummer.
Why were the Township Acts passed?
This bummer.
The money would be used to pay the salaries of British officers and allow random searches for smuggled items. What was the colonists' reaction to the Township Acts when they were imposed? Roy.
They both.
Yes. Roy.
Here for Roy. Woo!
When were the Township Acts imposed? Roy. Yes. Roy.
Mustaches roll.
When was the Declaratory Acts imposed? Roy.
1766.
Yes, Roy.
Wow. Let's go, Miss Prin.
Okay, Roy Squall and Miss Prin are tied. And so, let's see who gets this one. Was the Boston Port Act part of the Intolerable Acts? Zach. Oh, Miss Prin.
Yes.
Yes, in this one. So, another bonus question. What did the Quebec Act do? Did it state? Roy.
People couldn't play video games.
It extended the border of Quebec farther south so it bordered the colonies.
You're a weird man. That's not right.
Nope.
You need to learn your history.
Yeah.
I will call the FBI. What did the Administration of Justice Act do? What did it state? Roy.
He needs to wear afro.
No. His friend? If a British official is accused of a crime, his trial would be in England. Or maybe another more state that was loyal to the crown.
I still think it's the afro.
2 more bonus questions. So, Roy, you could catch up if you get the next 2 right.
Or by cheat.
What was the name of the act that said the colonies had to house and buy food for soldiers?
The Township Act.
No.
Just
I don't
answer
know.
it, man.
The Quartering Act. Last bonus question, Roy. Actually, you will be able to tie. We'll see who wins. Last bonus question. What was the name of the act that officials had to be elected by England instead of the court in the colonies? Roy. Miss Prin? You sure you don't know? Okay. Roy, do not. Answer is the Massachusetts Government Act, and that gives you our total. Roy loses and Miss Prim wins.
Point.